Well, talking parent stuff this afternoon. Now, as I'm sure you all know, if you haven't heard, I have a 12-year-old daughter, so I know firsthand just how hard the tween years can be. And let me tell you, it's a whole new world where kids, they're just not kids anymore, but they're not quite teenagers. And they seem to think that they're adults. But many times is also a time where your kids pull away from you as a parent and become more independent. But they also could mean a lot of attitude and conflict at home. So joining us now is Rosalind Wiseman, who is the author of Queen Bees and Wannabes, and she is going to talk to us about, her book. And I'm sure some of you have heard of her book, and it was actually one of that movie that Lindsay Lohan had started, right? Yes. Mean Girls. So you're going to tell us a little bit about some advice. Now, recently you've got a new version of your book that just came out, and you're actually doing a tour here in the Valley.
I am. The new version of Queen Bees and Wannabes came out in October because I needed to change it because I needed to talk about, was it happening earlier? What was going on with boys, technology. Right. So I actually had to rewrite about 70% of the book. Wow. And I'm here because Dove Go Fresh sponsors my book tours around the country for parents and daughters to come together. And we have it's called the Girl World Tour, and we come together and we have just an amazing time where we really learn from each other about how girls and their parents can talk to each other in really meaningful ways.
Okay, well, give me some advice. Tell me some things that are really important that we need to know as parents and how to deal with tweeners.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I think one of the most important things is when your child comes to you and says, I'm having a problem, I don't want you to freak out. And especially if they're having a problem with another kid, I don't want your hatred and anger for that child to totally cloud your vision. Okay. Because then, because you hate this child, who's being mean to the person you love. But if you let that rule your parenting, that's ineffective, right? Because you can't actually go after this kid, or you really can't, you really should not.
Of course not.
Plus, also, even if you did, it's not teaching your child how to handle things competently. Not at all. So instead, what I want you to do is your kid comes to you, and I don't want you to say, just ignore it, or show them who's a better person, or you don't care, or punch them in the face, or things like that. Right. I want you to say, I'm really sorry that happened to you. Thank you for coming and telling me, because it's actually a risk that your kid's coming and telling you. It's like a big thing they're coming.
Huge. So you need to validate that.
Right, exactly. And then say, you know what? Let's think through the problem so we know how to deal with this.
Okay.
That's the first step.
That's great advice. Yes. Oh, validate that they came to you and asked you for advice. Yes. That's one thing that you never get.
Thank you. Right, Thank you for coming and telling me.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. Okay. What's another one?
Well, I think the other part is that I know parents feel that kids need to have cell phones, but the problem is, one of the things that we know, and the other part of working with Dove and this Dove Go Fresh, this tour, is that we do this study, and the study showed that 7 out of 10 kids really want their parents to talk to them about things that are bothering them, and almost 70% of girls are really worried about the gossiping that they're going to school with every day. Right. So how do we combat that? Well, one of the things I want parents to do is, oftentimes kids are using their cell phones as alarms, and they're right next to their bed. Right. Now, if you're worried about PG-13 movies and all different kinds of things coming at your kid, if you let that cell phone by the bed, all that stuff is coming through the phone. Right. So the bubble that you think you're protecting your child from does not exist.
So don't let them have the cell phone.
They can't have. They can have an alarm clock.
Okay, got it.
They get to have an alarm clock.
That's a good tip right there. Okay, Rosalind, I've got to let you go. But you have an event tonight.
We do.
Which is coming up. What is it? It's the Girls World Tour.
Girl World Tour, sponsored by Dove Go Fresh, and it's from 6:30 to 8:30. It's girls 8 to 14. And for the ticket price of $40, you get a copy of the new Queen Bees and Wannabes and my new novel for teens, Boys, Girls, and Other Hazardous Materials, and you get to hang out with me and have a great time.
I love it. I love it. So we'll have a link to where you can purchase those tickets and the location of the event. Just go to abc15.com. In the middle of the page, you see the Smart Family icon right there. I love it. So that's pretty good. Oh, yes. Plus also, guess what? We are giving away 2 pairs of tickets right now for free. Be the 5th and 6th callers. And just call right now at 1-877-ABC-1515. That's 1-877-22-1515. And Rosalind, thank you so much for joining.
It's my pleasure.
We could go on and on and on and on. So there we go. Now, next on Smart Family,